Hello and welcome to today's webcast. My name is Kathy Mira, Director of Customer Marketing at Erwin Inc. And today we are happy to provide some useful information for you. As you know, October 2019 will probably be here in the blink of an eye, and we have announced that we will be sunsetting prior versions of 964 prior at that time. And we know that we have a lot of useful information and guidance to support you in that upgrade, which we strongly recommend because there are great features and functionality to be realized. Today I'm joined by Matt Russo, who is our Principal Support Engineer and really has done a fantastic job year over year in providing these types of learning modules. Your lines have been placed on mute to keep background noise at bay. But I do encourage you to ask questions in your questions console, which I will be reading to Matt at the conclusion of his presentation. So at this time, I'd like to pass the floor over to Matt to begin your presentation. Matt?
Thank you, Kathy. Hello and welcome to Upgrades Made Easy, the benefits of migrating the current Erwin data modeler releases. The agenda for today is that upgrading can be relatively painless. The key is to plan your upgrade. We'll go over the top upgrade frequently asked questions, and we'll discuss what's new, the improvements and enhancements to Erwin, and finally followed by the question and answer period. My name is Matt Russo. I've supported the Erwin modeling suite since 1995. I'm the subject matter expert for the Workgroup Edition, or otherwise known as the MART. In my downtime, I enjoy martial arts, fitness, and playing chess. So you want to create a plan when you're performing your upgrades. You want to review your environment as it is today and then describe your environment that you're trying to get to, the 2B, and then plan your transition to go from the environment as it is today to the environment as you would like it to be. You want to explore all the resources, which include visiting Erwin's product training area, reviewing the product documentation, engaging our Erwin supports team, planning with your company's IT department, identify the necessary steps, and then explore the transition within a test environment. Erwin product training is available online, and we also have instructor-led training at the link that you see there on the screen. You want to explore your plan in a test run, determine how long an automated or manual conversion will take, identify any surprises that you have not foreseen, create or research solutions or workarounds to the unforeseen surprises, and then iterate through the test run until there are no surprises left and you have a good plan to move forward with. Licensing. The licensing has changed since R9.8 version. There's an online license server available, and you access that at port 80 at mynowprun.com or that IP address. There is a proxy option available, so if you have to go through a proxy to access the internet, we'll be able to handle that on port 443, secure port 443. We also have offline licensing available for those who need it. The license, when you're installing Erwin, you get this screen where the license code may be optionally typed in during the installation. And we also offer now a silent installation. This is a screenshot of the new licensing window. It shows the license code that is required there, plus the email address. These two components are needed for the licensing. And here is our proxy option window. What it's showing there is the proxy tab, the server address, the port, the username and password. That's optional. You'll get this information from your company's IT help desk, and then you'll be able to put in the proxy if you go through a proxy to the internet. Upgrade frequently asked questions. You want to make sure that you have a license that supports the same or greater number of users than your earlier version. We've already mentioned that you need to access port 80 at mynowprun.com. To obtain a license, you want to open a new support ticket or chat online at erwin.com support. Where do I get my upgrade? You want to go to erwin.com support, press Erwin Data Modeler Solutions Downloads and Compatibility. Why does it take so long to open a model after upgrading conversion? The first time opening of a model in the current version of Erwin, which is presently 2019 R1, completes the conversion. And this is a one-time hit. After you've opened it and the conversion is complete, you can then save the model so that this does not happen going forward. So it's just a one-time hit. What versions can be converted to 2019 R1? 7.3.12 and later models may be converted. 2019 R1 includes security improvements. We've done vulnerability testing using Signity, static application security testing, and dynamic application security testing. So we have security improvements. We also have enhanced database and support. We've added the following databases since 9.6.4 version: Hive, Netezza, PostgreSQL, SAP ASC, and SAP IQ. We have overall improved modeler productivity. New capabilities, enhanced product features are listed here, such as the filter go-to dialog, display subject area and exiting subject area editor, bulk delete of UDPs, and so on. I continue the list here. We're going to go over each of these individually. That's why I'm not reading off the top of the list here. So let's start with the filter go-to dialog. In the past, you would have all this information in there and it'd be very difficult to go to a particular entity because there's just too much data in there. Now we have a filter dialog, so you can begin typing the name of the particular entity or table, and that'll shorten your list and you'll be able to go to it much easier. We now display the subject area and exiting the subject area editor. In past versions, it would leave you in the same subject area and you'd have to go back to the subject area editor and do the switch yourself. Now it'll actually switch it for you, so the moment that you change to the new subject area, you're in it. We have bulk delete of UDPs. We can now select and delete multiple user-defined properties in one shot. In the past, we weren't able to do this. You had to do them individually. We have a DDL preview in the table editor. So in the SQL tab in the table editor, it'll display the forward engineering script preview for the create table statements. Subject area switching is now available for the viewer profile. So people who would log into the model, into the MART or Workgroup edition, weren't able to switch to different subject areas in past versions. We now allow you to have this ability so that even the viewer profile can switch to a different subject area. For the MART, we have incremental save progress bar, and you get a thermometer going across your screen of the percentage of the save that's completed. And also, if another user tries to save into the same model while someone else is simultaneously saving to the same model, a message will display which will warn that user to save at a later time. In the past, what would happen is the first user would be saving their changes, the second user would go to save their changes, and the second user would have to wait until the first user's changes were saved before they would even get the three-way merge screen open. We now give a warning message so you can avoid all that wait time and do it at a time when someone else is not saving to the MART. Relationship rules, nullability relationship. Changes to a foreign key attribute nullability are now reflected in the relationship nullability. An option to enforce the relationship nullability rules have been provided. And in the case of compound relationships, if the null option of one of the migrate attributes is set to null, the null option of the relationship is set to null is allowed. If the null option of all the migrate attributes is set to not null, the null option of the relationship is set to null is not allowed. So we have improvements in the relationship rules for the nullability. We've also improved supertype-subtype relationship between two parent subtypes. We now get better control over the creation of a supertype-subtype relationship between two different subtype entities belonging to the same or different subtype supertype group. An option to enable or disable such relationships has been provided on the model editor. The naming standards has been enhanced. It now supports physical to logical. We used to only have logical to physical. Now we can also do physical to logical. Also, the API has been extended to support the application of these naming standards. We have primary key and foreign key highlighting. When you hover your mouse over a relationship line, it'll turn a different color for the primary key and foreign keys automatically. And this becomes then easily identifiable on your screen. Oracle 12 and PostgreSQL, we've added support for 128 character table and column names. So now you can have much longer table and column names. We have a new forward engineering wizard, and there is a screenshot of it. I'm showing the preview of the SQL. It has a look and feel just like the complete compare functionality had in the past. So you click each of the links to get to the various functionalities in the forward engineering wizard. We have the ability to tag attributes and columns as personally identifiable information. These are things like credit card numbers, passport numbers, email addresses, health information, whatever you want to identify as personally identifiable information. You can click that on and then have a report which will tell you that data. The ODBC SQL query tool has been deprecated in 2018 and later versions. We've expanded and improved upon the report designer for this. So we have a much more improved and expanded upon functionality in the report designer. Which brings us to the report designer. We've improved and expanded the functionality. It now allows you to add a hyperlinked logo to your PDF reports. There's also an option to view the count of subject areas, entity tables, attribute columns, key group indexes, and so forth in your model. We have also added multiple reporting enhancements. Too many to mention. I would say to go check the Erwin release notes to find out more about this. Logging and auditing are now available in the MART. The application.log file can tell you about problems in the MART along with the information about it so that we can get some log files and work on sorting out a difficulty. We have session logs and reporting now available. So you connect to the MART and then you do a MART server report on the session logs and reporting. Here's a sample report of how the session logs look. We have user logs available. This is an auditing feature which will have all the actions that users perform in the MART, such as authentication, permission, catalog, session type, types of users, Windows server user, session ID, and timestamp. So we're recording this now, and you can also report against that data. And here's a sample user logs report. So it shows all the actions that the users have been performing in the MART, and you can report against that. We have other reports that we've added, many reports that have been added into the report designer. Again, please check our release notes in reference to this. So that's about it all in all. Upgrading can be relatively painless. The key is to plan your upgrade. We've gone over the top upgrade frequently asked questions, and we've covered the new features and enhancements since 9.6.4. Kathy, back to you for any questions and the answers that are opening up. Hello?
Sorry, my mute button was stuck. Sorry to leave you hanging there.
No problem.
Yes, your first question is, have you added support for Redshift database?
Redshift. No, we haven't.
Okay.
Just the ones that I mentioned.
Next question was about the statement of direction for MIDI integration bridges.
Okay, they've been deprecated in the current version, and we're working on a conversion utility to do magic draw. I forget the other two. We're working on a conversion utility to help convert over to Erwin based upon what we surveyed as the top requests that we've gotten in. One of them was magic draw. I don't remember the other two offhand.
Right, so to that person, I would also state that there is a full statement of direction on the communities posting. If you are an existing Erwin customer, it was posted to the community's site about 4 weeks ago that goes a bit more in depth on that. More questions, let's see. Do we have a new feature of Teradata supported in latest release?
We have just the databases I listed earlier.
Okay. Sorry, they're coming in real time. Can you make it easier to test the 9.8 version while still licensed for our 9.6?
Well, the problem is that two R9 versions can't coexist on the same machine. What you can do is make a copy of the installation folder for 9.6 that you'll have the ability to double-click erwin.exe within there, and that will give you like an installation of 9.6 while you also have the current 2019 R1 installed. So you can do it that way. About 90% of the functionality will be accessible in the previous version when you do it that way.
Would there be any free license available for students?
Well, we have the academic program, so I don't know that there are free licenses, but we have the academic program that they can go through.
Right. So if you go to erwin.com, you can find a section on academia and guidance therein.
Right.
When will you have support for DB2 Zeos V12?
I don't know.
Yeah, so any question like that, if we don't have specifics to the roadmap and planned database inclusion, you can well, we'll follow up and we'll get back to you direct for any question that we don't have a specific answer to right now. Let's see, Erwin file extension change with 2019 R1, or will it still be a .erwin extension?
It's still a .erwin extension. We haven't changed that.
Yes, the presentation will be distributed in PDF format. That's been asked a few times. And this is being recorded for future playback. I think we're up to date on questions at the moment. We'll give it a minute or two. Yeah, oh, here's another one. How many users are connected on a data mart in a certain moment? Can you report on that?
In the session report, you can do that.
Okay. Any plans to improve the awkward user interface for complete compare?
I'm not aware of any changes coming to the complete compare.
Again, that's something we can follow up on with the product management and roadmaps. Okay, another one in case my last answer was not heard. Yes, we will be sending out a PDF of this session as well as the recording. Question, are there new API?
We've enhanced the API for the naming standards, the glossary.
And at which release level was that?
2019 R1.
Okay. Any improvements for concurrent changes in multi-user environment where multiple modelers working in same model file concurrently.
We don't have saves in parallel at this time, but we do have serial, and we have the messaging that comes up so that if someone else is saving, the user will get a message not to save at this time, to try again later, so they don't get hung up. So that's the new improvements that we have in 2019. Well, actually, in the most recent releases of Erwin.
Again, at this time, you're up to date on questions. We'll give it
Okay.
one more minute or two. And note also that we can absolutely look to provide a tech talk where we can show product in action. I do also recommend that you do a search on on-demand assets on erwin.com for events, as I believe Neil Buckwalter did a nice job a month or two ago of kind of showing these features in action. So we can always look to have a new one, but by the same token, there is a nice demo out there that has been saved on demand. A new question for you, or two. If we go to V12, I'm not sure what that is, what kind of incompatibilities do you think we will run into?
Okay, if this is a question about database support, it'll probably work with whatever database you're using, although we may not support the most recently added keywords or functions for that database.
It's for
So
DB2.
I can't predict what they're going to run into, but it'll most likely support 80 to 90% of that database.
Is there a reference document on all naming standards from physical to logical?
A reference document. We have the online help and we have the manuals.
Located?
Which will be located online at erwin.com support. And yeah, erwin.com support.
Why is import-export function being removed?
It was a management decision. I really don't have anything more to say about that.
Do you have in your roadmap a webinar showing how to migrate from older versions?
We have articles available at support at erwin.com support, and we have an article that shows how to migrate one R9 MART to a later R9 MART. So we do have these available online. Go to erwin.com/support and then use the search there to locate this.
No questions, are all caught up. Can R9.6 and 2019 R1 coexist in one single machine? Followed by, can R9.6 and 2019 R1, oh, it's the same question, they copied it twice. Sorry, that's one question.
No problem. The answer is yes, with the caveat. What you need to do is copy the R9.6 folder and paste it so that when you upgrade to 2019, you'll still have a copy of that software, and then you can double click erwin.exe within that folder, and you'll have about 90% of the functionality available. So the installation program will remove the 9.6. So what you need to do is make a copy of that folder, as I've stated, and then you can have them both coexist on the same machine.
Thank you. We're up to date on questions. Okay. I have been provided a link for the naming standards, a reference doc, so we can send that out as a helpful document in our follow-up communication, which everyone here will be receiving with that PDF of the slides and recording. So thank you for that.
Okay.
Last call for any questions, and by all means, feel free to respond with any additional questions if they come to mind post-event. You can send to me, kmira, K-M-E-A-R-A @erwin.com, and I'm happy to seek out your responses. One more. Is there a step-by-step guide for Erwin client upgrades for users, as the license process seems to be different after R9.7 and needs some extra steps?
There's not one with screenshots and all that, but we have in our manuals instructions on upgrading. So I would direct you again to the erwin.com support site for our documentation. Getting started guide, things like that.
And I'm quite certain your organization and support receives calls and provides support along the way as well.
Yes, we will.
Absolutely. So yeah, if you're not taking advantage of the community.erwin.com or building relationships with support, that definitely comes in handy. But all in all, we found that most of the documentation that does exist has been deemed pretty helpful and useful. Okay, no further questions at this time.
Okay.
Any concluding thoughts from your end, Matt?
No, thank you for this opportunity to give this presentation to everyone.
Absolutely, and thank you all for joining. And by all means, I can't say it enough, please reach out. We'll give as much useful information as we can in the follow-up that you receive for attending. Do seek out that tech talk that is on demand and located on erwin.com for a product demo in action of roadmap type items that Matt touched upon, or existing features and functionality in the product. You can get a sense of the interface and how it's looking today. And we hope to see you soon at the next WebEx. And we are actually looking at our usual summer series. We'll be providing some Erwin DM content to get you through the summer, because we know you get bored, and give you some learning opportunities along the way. So until then, we look forward to seeing you at our next WebEx. This concludes today's event. Thank you and have a great rest of your day.